Hi everyone. Today I'll present my work, joint prediction of cocaine craving and euphoria using structured prediction energy networks. My name is Banateja Gulapalli and I'm a third year PhD student at University of Massachusetts Amherst, advised by Tawhidur Rahman. In the recent years, wearable and mobile health technologies have been developed and sensing capabilities advanced to track drug and substance usages like smoking, alcohol, cocaine, opioids, among many others. These technologies can also monitor other states that pertain before a drug administration, like craving, and after drug administration, like euphoria. Before we go further, I would like to present the addiction cycle to better understand a person who is addicted to the drug. The addiction starts with any drug-related cues, which transform into a drug craving. Eventually, after a loss of control, the individual seeks the drug and finally administers it. After administering the drug, the individual then enters a state of euphoria, which we commonly call high. With each euphoric event, the individual develops a new tolerance to the drug, referred to as neuroadaptation. While the literature tells how different states in the addiction cycle are interconnected, most of the current existing systems are built to predict only one output variable or predict multiple variables, but just using the information from the input. These systems inherently lack a mechanism to exploit the label correlations present in the data to improve the predictions. Therefore, we ask the question, can we build a system that makes its predictions based on the input as well as the label interactions? To build and test such a system, we consider a data set collected from participants who are administered cocaine. I'll now briefly discuss the experimental setup. In this study, a total of 10 experienced cocaine users are recruited, and the total duration of the study is 6 hours for each participant. Throughout the 6 hours, the participant wore a Zephyr bioharness chest band that captured the ECG signal. Every 5 minutes during the study, the participants were asked to self-report the craving and euphoria for cocaine according to a visual analog scale between 0 and 10. 0 being the lowest and 10 being the highest amount they're experiencing. Due to the time constraint and the focus of the paper, I won't be explaining the experiment in detail, and we encourage the viewers to check the previous paper for this. The most important part in this experiment is that the participant can receive cocaine intravenously through just a press of the button with a certain time threshold between consecutive administrations. And the scores for craving and euphoria they're experiencing are provided every 5 minutes. This study is IRB approved and shown previously to be safe, well-tolerated, and valid. In this dataset, we observed that the ground truth, craving, and euphoria scores are positively correlated with a Spearman correlation coefficient of 0.64. This can be interpreted as, if a participant is not feeling any craving for the drug, the participant is not experiencing any euphoric feeling. Similarly, if the participant is feeling euphoric due to the drug, the participant would like to continue taking the drug by showing a craving to keep experiencing the ongoing effect of the drug. We try to predict craving and euphoria scores from cardiac signals and based on the label interactions using a structured prediction energy networks, which we'll call as SPENS in this talk. In the energy networks like ours, the predictions are made by posing the prediction as a solution to a nonlinear combinatorial optimization problem given by the energy value. In SPENS, the energy network is defined by the sum of two terms, local and label energy. Local energy is given by the following equation, and it is expressed as the sum of linear models over the label space. The purpose of the local energy is to see how representative are the features with respect to the predictions. Label energy is given by the following equation, and its primary purpose is to capture all label interactions independent of the output. The following highlighted term captures the features from labels, which in turn are used to model their dependencies. The key characteristics of the SPENS are, it parameterizes the energy as a neural network that takes both X and Y as inputs and returns a single number. No assumptions over the label interactions are made in this architecture, except that the neural network can encompass the label interactions. Learning the SPEN parameters is a two-step process. we need to learn all the parameters of the energy network. Then for each data point, we have to find the optimal output with the lowest energy value. We use a structured loss similar to the original work for training the energy network. The delta YA bar is an error function between the ground truth and predictor label, which in our case is the RMSE between the craving and euphoria scores. The other part in this loss ensures that the energy value obtained from the ground truth and predicted values are as close as possible. Traditionally, we optimize the loss function by performing a gradient descent on the model parameters. But in this case, whenever we update the parameters, for every data point, we have to compute the optimal Y, which minimizes this value. Therefore, at every epoch, for each data point, we have to consider a combinatorial possibilities, making the system impractical. To overcome this, finding the optimal Y is done by using a gradient descent along with the energy parameters. And during the testing or the inference phase, we fix the parameters of the energy model and only learn the output labels. The following table shows the performance of different systems we tested on jointly predicting craving and euphoria. With SPENS, we observed an improvement of 4.6% in craving prediction and 5.4% in the euphoria prediction or the baseline model. And the baseline model was based on a single label prediction as compared to SPENS, which are multi-label predictions. As mentioned earlier, unlike traditional machine learning models, SPEN require learning even during the testing phase. Following is an illustration to show how output labels are updated during the inference for one particular data point. SPEN initially starts with random values for output predictions of craving and euphoria score, and then gradually perform gradient descent to update these scores for minimizing the structured loss. Next, we break down the performance of the model across all the participants. And we observe that in the participants who do not have any label correlation or are oppositely correlated as compared to the general trend, which in our case are participants with IDs 4 and 6, the SPEN performed worse or similar to the baseline model, both in craving and euphoria. SPEN failed on participants whose label correlation is against the trend of general population. So what do we do in such a situation? One possible solution is grouping participants based on the label dependencies and building systems unique to each subpopulation. Unfortunately, due to the limited population data we have, we couldn't try this. Multi-label prediction with label correlation has been well studied in computer vision and natural language processing, but its applicability in ubiquitous computing technologies is limited, even though we encounter it in many problem scenarios. Some examples include activity recognition and the duration of each activity, the human context recognition, which includes location, emotion, activity, etc. And type and amount of drug administration recognition. Going further, we would like to test this system on some publicly available data set where the labels satisfy the dependency criteria. And that concludes our work. Thank you very much.